All right, today we're going to dive into something really fascinating, the legal system of Sierra Leone. You see, this is a nation that was literally born from a dream of freedom. And its story? Well, it's one of constant conflict and this ongoing search for a system of justice that actually fits its people. And this isn't just some dusty old history. This is the central tension, the real friction that shapes every single law we're about to talk about. I mean, think about it. How does a country that's built on this ideal of freedom even begin to reconcile a colonial legal system forced upon it with its own deep-rooted indigenous traditions? And then you throw a brutal, decade-long civil war into the mix? Yeah, that's the puzzle we're looking at. So to really get a grip on Sierra Leone's laws as they are today, we've got to rewind, like all the way back to the very beginning. Because its foundation, it's just not like anywhere else in West Africa. And that unique starting point, it basically set the stage for everything that was to come. Okay, so check out this timeline. We start in 1787, and this is wild. It begins as a settlement for freed slaves, a refuge. Then, fast forward to the early 1800s, and Freetown becomes the British headquarters for the entire region. And then in 1827, you get Fora Bay College, which becomes so important, so influential. They called it the Athens of Africa. So you can see right from the get-go, this place wasn't your typical colony. It was this incredible, complicated mix of African dreams and British power. And that tension, well, that defined everything, right up until they gained independence in 1961. And right there, that's where the big conflict really kicks off. See, before the British arrived, you had local chiefs running things with their own sets of rules, their own customs. But then the settlers show up, and they bring with them a totally different system imported straight from Britain. But here's the key thing. It didn't replace the old way. It was just laid on top. And boom, right away, you've got this two-track legal system, a duality that's going to last for a very long time. So this unique history ends up creating not one, but two legal systems, just running side by side. It's kind of wild. So let's break down what that actually looks like on the ground. Yeah, this chart really lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got customary law. This is the world of the chiefs. It's all based on indigenous traditions, and it handles the stuff of daily life, family disputes, local issues. Then, on the other side, you've got British common law. This is the formal court system, with magistrates and judges dealing with major crimes, civil suits, all the big national stuff. And for decades, these two systems just operated in their own separate parallel universes. And this quote, it just nails that exact moment in time. It wasn't a violent legal takeover, not at all. It was just introducing a brand new system right alongside the one that was already there. And that coexistence, that's the absolute key to understanding all the legal headaches and complexities that were about to come, especially when the country faced its biggest test yet. Because yeah, that test was definitely coming. That delicate balance the nation had, it was completely shattered in the 1990s. A conflict erupted that would push every single one of its legal and moral boundaries to the breaking point, and then way past it. So for a whole decade, from 1991 to 2001, Sierra Leone was just consumed by this horrific civil war. The scale of the violence, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. And it completely swamped both legal systems, the customary and the formal. So when the war finally ended, the country was left with this monumental question. How on earth do you find justice in the middle of all that rubble? And really, everything hinged on that one question. Because justice couldn't just be about locking people up. It had to be about truth. It had to be about healing. It had to be about trying to stitch a completely shattered society back together. And for that, one single legal track was never going to cut it. So what was the solution? Well, believe it or not, it was another two-track system. First, they created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The goal there was collective healing. Let's document everything that happened. Let's give the victims a platform to speak. But at the same time, for accountability, they set up the Special Court for Sierra Leone. That was all about prosecuting the big fish, the people with the most responsibility for the horrors of the war. It was this really unique, custom-built approach to justice, designed for a crisis that had no precedent. So the end of the war and this whole process of finding justice, it was a massive turning point. The goal wasn't just to go back to the way things were. No way. It was about building a brand new legal future for the country. And what's happened in the 2 decades since? Honestly, it's nothing short of a legal revolution. The country has been on this mission to update, to modernize, and you could even say to decolonize its laws. really trying to make them reflect the values of a new Sierra Leone. And the result? Just look at this wave of landmark laws. They abolished the death penalty in 2021. They passed major acts to empower women, to protect kids' rights, to make sure poor people could get legal help. I mean, every single one of these is a huge step forward, tackling these long-standing problems head-on. Let's zoom in on a couple of them. Okay, so this Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act from 2022, the really crucial thing to get here is that this isn't just for show, it's not symbolic, it's a practical tool designed to go after real-world inequality, opening up doors for women in politics, in employment, and in getting access to finance. It's a total game changer, a really foundational shift. And this one is so fascinating because it goes right back to that old two-track system we were talking about. The Customary Land Act actually modernizes tradition. It explicitly says that women have the same rights to own family land as men, something that was often denied under the old customary rules. Plus, it gives local communities real power, a real say in big development projects. It's like the perfect example of how you can respect the past while building a fairer future. So wow, after this whole journey, from a colonial outpost through a brutal war to a nation now forging its own path, what does this all tell us about Sierra Leone's legal identity today? When you boil it all down, the story of law in Sierra Leone is the story of its people. It's that simple. It started as something that was imported, something that was imposed on them. But through everything, independence, war, reform, it's become something that Sierra Leoneans are actively shaping for themselves. It's like a living, breathing document that tells the story of their struggles, their incredible resilience, and what they hope for the future. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. When a country changes its legal DNA this fast, this dramatically, the challenge never goes away. How do you honor the traditions that held your communities together for centuries, while at the same time embracing the new, modern laws you need to thrive in the 21st century? Finding that balance? Well, that's the ongoing story of Sierra Leone's future.